I'm Wendy Rutledge, and this is Palm Beach TV, a production of the Palm Beach Civic Association. Here's what is straight ahead on this week's Island News. Town council members hear important updates on critical matters facing island residents. We'll bring you an update on the safety of your drinking water, and much more. It is coming up on election season, and this year we'll see some changes to the process. We'll fill you in on the new steps you need to take to cast your vote. These stories and much more next on Palm Beach TV. Your town council continues to hammer away at the big issues like water quality and COVID-19, but they also look at very closely the smaller things like artificial turf or parking, all those things that add up to the wonderful quality of life here on Palm Beach.
They also purchased equipment for an ELISA system that is being done in-house by city staff. So they do that, we're being told, twice a day, and test the water internally, and then they've also got external testing that they send out for certification.
Here's to ELISA. That is the city of West Palm Beach's new testing system that has allowed for twice daily water testing, a vast improvement over the once weekly schedule of the recent past.
I'm glad to hear, and this is the first time I'm hearing it today, that they have the ability to do on-site testing, because that might have been a flaw in the system in the sense that they test the water and they have to send it out, and there's a day or at least a 24-hour delay in response. So now they can detect in this case, the cyanotoxins, hopefully immediately to some degree, and begin the treatment that they know that works for the cyanotoxins.
So there have been no occurrences since May for the cyanobacteria.
So short term, the improvements to water testing and treatment are holding up. But the expert panel convened by West Palm to explore future water protective measures will continue to meet until February of next year, when final recommendations will be made on possible long-term fixes, including sophisticated ozone treatment of the water before it hits your tap. We'll keep you posted. Meantime, Mayor Moore brought council up to date on a possible dredging project of concern off Peanut Island.
Increased safety risk to swimmers who normally use the sandbar, with new boat traffic cutting through that area, as well as the deep drop-off that will exist after the diagonal channel is dredged. Concerns were also expressed about the removal of seagrasses in this dredge area and the lack of viable locations in the loon to mitigate. There were also concerns expressed about the turbidity impacts to seagrass outside the dredged area and hard bottom resources vital to the diving community and marine life.
If that was to go forward, that second cut, it would have a very significant negative impact on our Lake Worth Lagoon environmentally. And as we all know, the manatee are in serious decline in South Florida, and particularly in Palm Beach County.
Mayor Moore indicated the proposed dredging is supported by the marine industry and that council will be investigating options and monitoring the situation closely.
We all love the outdoor dining, but I find after they've closed down for the night that it's messy.
Council gave the green light to continued outdoor seating at island restaurants through Memorial Day 2022 with two caveats. Restaurants must now pull all outdoor seating in and off the streets every single night, and they will be monitored by police to make sure they do not exceed numbers of seats allowed.
You know, they called it mansionization 20 years ago. And unfortunately, we're failing at that right now. And I don't mean that, but collectively, we're failing.
Councilwoman Lindsay is referring to a long-range strategic plan written several decades ago by town leaders, a plan that with great foresight saw the coming of explosive building and structural expansion seen today on the island. Mayor Moore says urgent code reform is needed to address this.
I think the highest priority, in my opinion, for this council is to move forward with the code revisions to control, I think is a better word, to control some of the construction in the north end. And I think that's really the highest priority.
Council has committed to immediately but incrementally tackle code reform with the goal of retaining the distinctive character of Palm Beach.
Thank you, Mayor.
One of our own, Palm Beach Civic Association Treasurer Michael Ainsley, is praised for his years of service to the town as chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Michael is one of the most involved residents in our town, and we can't thank you enough for your service, Michael. We know that you've made sacrifices to serve our community, and for that, I would just like to thank you.
This coming year, 2022, there will be 3 town council seats up for grabs in the March election. But there are some critical changes in the election process you need to know about. Featured guest at this month's town council meeting, Supervisor of Elections, Wendy Sartori-Link, with information about the many changes we will soon see, starting off with vote by mail.
If you had an all existing elections checkbox, something that you'd requested for all future elections, that will be good through November 2022. After November 2022, every vote by mail request will be wiped out and everybody will need to request anew.
Also gone, the option to check vote by mail for the next election on your ballot return envelope.
The check boxes, for those of you that remember who have used vote by mail, we used to have a check box on your return envelope that you could say, yes, I'd like to continue my vote by mail request. That is no longer permitted under the statute.
Under new election regulations, drop boxes must now be monitored in person 24/7, which means fewer open drop boxes.
We will have more limited drop box hours, and we will post those for every election. We'll post those at least 30 days before the election so that people will know when those are available.
And to avoid what's called ballot harvesting, dropping off a stack of ballots is now against the law.
It is actually a misdemeanor if you possess more than 2 vote by mail ballots that are not yours or your immediate family members. So you're able to use, to bring people, neighbors in, friends in, but only 2 per election cycle.
What makes Palm Beach County so special when it comes to agriculture?
Well, it's the winter vegetable capital of the United States. Largely contributing to the harvest is Florida Crystals, a 190,000-acre farming enterprise in the western part of the county, run by Pepe Fanjul Jr., a longtime director with the Palm Beach Civic Association. Though he is the executive vice president of Florida Crystals, recently he even got in the trenches with some of his team.
Good exercise, good fun. It was a time when none of us were able to come into the office together, but we had some good camaraderie as a company, going out, being able to have conversation and be out in the fresh air and do something good. And really see where fresh food comes from. It doesn't come from the supermarket, it really comes from farms.
And it's not just food coming from farms. At Florida Crystals, they're making cardboard boxes out of sugarcane.
We're trying to get the world to stop using styrofoam and aluminum products, and as we're just trying to do as many possible things we can with the sugarcane plant. So we're not only sweetening everybody's day, but we're also trying to find ways, and we're actually doing so, in terms of making products there for packaging products.
And soon, you may be able to see it all firsthand. When we were chatting, Fanjul Jr. said he'd love to invite Palm Beach Civic Association members out to the farm in the coming months.
Now, the 2,000 employees at Florida Crystals are gearing up for a busy harvest season that starts at the end of this month. I'm Christina Nicholson, reporting.
Speaking of calendars, mark yours for our Welcome Back Community Forum on November 8th. That's 4 p.m. at the Royal Poinciana Chapel. Mayor Donnie Moore will deliver her welcome address, followed by marine engineer Bob Hamilton's insights into sea level rise and coastal resiliency. Call us or visit our website for more information and registration for this season opening event. So very busy times ahead for the island and Palm Beach TV. Please don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or go to our website anytime and check out our live cameras or perhaps any news you might have missed. We will see you next time on Palm Beach TV, a production of the Palm Beach Civic Association, where membership matters.